All right, good evening, guys. So today I'm going to be talking to you about a rhetorical precis. And the rhetorical precis is a really super structured four-sentence introductory paragraph. Okay, so four sentences, but they're really structured. Like, you don't have a lot of wiggle room for super flowery language. Like, I was musing today when I woke up and saw the moon still in the sky, and these were my thoughts. It's none of that. It's super structured and really focuses your writing. So a couple quick disclaimers as we get into this is one, if the humming in the background bothers you, I apologize. It's just my central air unit running. Both my husband and my daughter are always hot. I am always cold. So now that the sun is going down and it's cooling off in the back, I've come in the backyard, but that's why you can hear that humming. Second, if there's dog barking, like right now, my neighbor has a couple dogs and one of them likes to talk a lot. I also have two that are currently out here with me. So if I get up and let them back in the house, it's because it's time for them to go inside. Okay. Third thing I want to let you know is that feel free to pause this as many times as you need to. This is a pretty new thing for you guys. I think it's brand new for you guys. And it's just going to give you a little bit of a leg up when you go into English 12 next year with Mrs. Scarkelli. Okay, she uses this a lot, and we just in talking with her, she and I talk frequently. She's one of my closest friends. We thought this might be a good thing just to introduce the last couple of days of summer school. So when she brings it up next year, you can go, oh yeah, we know this, or at least I've heard of this type of thing. And the last thing I wanted to touch on super quick before we dive into your notes is the definition of rhetoric in general. That term is thrown around a lot. Rhetorical devices, rhetorical precis, rhetorically assertive verbs. And really what you need to know as we're doing this and going through with this is that rhetoric is a tool in an author's toolkit. It is how the author crafts his or her message, whether it's figurative language, ethos, pathos, logos. What tools, does he or she use to persuade you in his or her writing or his or her speeches to agree with them and see their point and see their value? So, excuse me again, I'm sorry. So that's what rhetoric. So I don't want you guys to get hung up on what is rhetoric, okay? Rhetoric is a tool that writers use. Figurative language is a tool that authors use, and all of these folding together to create the author's masterpiece. Well, theoretically speaking, should be masterpiece. But there is some bad writing. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, writing a really good rhetorical precis, rhetorical introduction to an analysis essay, you're going to demonstrate three things. Well, you're going to demonstrate two things and help yourself in a third way. So if you can see where my mouse is, which is, I'm pretty certain how the screen share works. Okay, right over here. It's going to demonstrate that you've read and understood what you were asked to read. Okay, did you read what I assigned? Did you read what Mrs. Scarkelli assigned? And can you understand it? The second thing it's going to do is show us that you can identify strategies, tools the author uses in the passage to convey his or her message, to persuade you, to argue his or her point. And the third thing it's going to do, which is beneficial to you, it's going to provide a roadmap for the rest of your essay. If you write a really strong introduction, it really funnels the rest of your work in order for you. Okay, so we're going to get into the format because, like I said, it's super duper structured. And there's my neighbor's dog. I'm sorry. So this box here, where it says the rhetorical precis format, is pretty much verbatim notes that you would be getting from Mrs. Scarkelli next year. I did add a couple things like here in the bold and the samples down here, but the actual notes from it are from Mrs. Scarkelli. So please make sure you pay attention to them. And even if you never watch this video again, please make sure you hold on to these notes so that way you have them as reference for her class. So your first sentence, very first sentence, is known as the what. Okay, this is where you're going to talk about the author, the title of the work, and include the date as much as possible. Now, as we're getting into this, you may not be able to get the date, and that's okay. But next year with Mrs. Scarkelli, you're going to make sure that you have the date of whatever you read. Okay. If you could have the genre too. So was it an essay? Was it a speech? Was it a memoir, excerpt, something? That's even better. Then you're also, this is all in one sentence, include a rhetorically accurate verb. So you're going to say asserts, argues, criticizes, compares, implies, proves, refutes. Any of those assertive verbs. What is the author doing in that piece of writing? And a that clause. This is the last piece to it. Okay, so we have 3 pieces to one sentence, right? I told you it's structured. Okay, name of the author, title of the work, the date, rhetorically accurate verb, assert, disprove, explain, imply, any of that. Then finally, in the sentence, you're going to do a that clause containing the thesis statement of the work you read. Thesis statement of the work you read. What is the thesis of the author in this piece of work that was published on this day that the author is asserting? Okay. Example. In the essay, The Ugly Truth About Beauty, from 1998, Dave Barry, nationally known humorist, argues that, quote, women generally do not think of their looks in the same way men do, and in the process become unnecessarily and unrealistically concerned with their appearances, end quote. That is all one sentence. However, we have the genre, we have the title, we have the date, we have the author, we have our verb right here, argues, okay? There's our verb and that. So he's arguing that women get unnecessarily concerned with their appearance. One sentence, okay? That is the what. Sentence 2 is the how. Okay, we're down here now. It is a sentence that gives an explanation of how the author supports his or her thesis. Okay, how does he or she support the claim? Okay, how. So we have his claim that women become unnecessarily concerned about appearances. Your sample. Barry illuminates this discrepancy by juxtaposing, there's his rhetorical device, okay? He's using juxtaposition, men's perceptions of their looks as average looking with women's not good enough by contrasting male role models, He-Man and Buzz-Off, side note, I have no idea who Buzz-Off is, sorry, with female role models such as Barbie or Cindy Crawford, and by comparing men's interests, the Super Bowl and lawn care, with women's, manicures. Okay, so he's used direct quotes from the text, which is awesome. And if you can do that, I would encourage you to. But don't feel like super stressed if you can't right away, because this, like I said, I know this is new for all of you. So we have the what, we have the how. Now we need to know the why. Oop, I went too far. I'm so sorry. Okay. So sentence number 3 is going to be the why. What is the author's purpose? Why does he say this, or she? Hey, I can stop yelling. I felt like I was yelling because of the air conditioner. I'm sorry, but that just shut off. So why is the author saying this? But then you have the in order to phrase. Okay. So in order phrase, which is the why. Again, super duper duper structured. You need that in order phrase. So Barry's example, using examples from popular culture, The Oprah Show, Brad Pitt, he exaggerates and stereotypes these differences in order to, okay, prevent women from so eagerly accepting society's expectation of them. In fact, Barry claims that men who want women who look like Cindy Crawford are quote-unquote idiots. Okay? Again, we have why is the author saying this? In order to. All right, let's add the to here. I missed that. I'm sorry. Okay, so you want to make sure that in order to is there. All right, super structured. Okay. And then your last sentence, your final sentence, sentence number 4 of your paragraph is giving the who. So who is the intended audience, or what relationship does the author want? Bella, you need to hold on. My dog wants to go inside. You need to hold on for a couple minutes. All right. So, the who. Barry's ostensible audience is men. That's who he's trying to reach out to, because he opens and closes the essay by directly addressing men, if you're a man, and offering them advice in a mockingly conspiratorial tone. I know you're going to spend a lot of time on tone with Mrs. Scarkelly next year. You guys are going to rock it. However, by using humor to poke fun at both men and women's perceptions about themselves, Barry makes his essay palatable to both genders. So there's his who, there's his audience, and hopes to convince women to stop obsessively thinking they need to look like Barbie. One thing that is not necessarily embedded in the formula for this 4-sentence paragraph is the use of quotes. However, this is an advanced example. Your sentences do not necessarily, at the beginning, need to be this long as you're developing them. But the writer of this uses quotes from the reading, from the essay. And it really shows that he understands the author's who, how, why, and what. Okay, what the author wrote, how did he write it, why did he write it, and who was he talking to. Okay, so now if you put this all together, one paragraph, okay, in the essay The Ugly Truth About Beauty from 1998, Dave Barry, nationally known humorist, argues that women generally do not think of their looks in the same way men do, and in the process become unnecessarily and unrealistically concerned with their appearances. Barry illuminates this discrepancy by juxtaposing men's perceptions of their looks, average looking, with women's not good enough, by contrasting male role models, He-Man, Buzz-Off, with female role models, Barbie, Cindy Crawford, and by comparing men's interests, the Super Bowl and lawn care, with women's, manicures. Using examples from popular culture, The Oprah Show, Brad Pitt, he exaggerates and stereotypes these differences in order to prevent women from so eagerly accepting society's expectation of them. In fact, Barry claims that that men who want women to look like Cindy Crawford are idiots. Barry's ostensible audience is men because he opens and closes the essay by directly addressing men, if you're a man, and offering them advice in a mockingly conspiratorial tone. I said that wrong, conspiratorial tone. However, by using humor to poke fun at both men and women's perceptions of themselves, Barry makes his essay palatable to both genders and hopes to convince women to stop obsessively thinking they need to look like Barbie. Okay, so that is one paragraph. That is 4 sentences long, but each of those sentences has a clear and definite purpose. There are key words and phrases in there. So please, 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 as you're filling in your notes, okay, make sure you're paying attention to this yellow box. Okay, those notes almost come directly from what you will see in Mrs. Scarkelly's class next year. The only things I added were the what, the how, the why, and the who. Okay, as those can be like your little triggers and the samples. But the rest of these notes in this box are from your teacher next year. So really make sure you hone in on them. As always, if you have questions, you guys know where to find me. Okay, I'll be online until 11, and then after that it's email. But your only task today is to watch this video and get those notes down. All right, so good luck. If you have any questions on this, because I know it's new, email me. Seriously, don't hesitate to ask your questions. Okay, all right, I'll see you later.